In case I'm ready. Yes.
Well, good afternoon, Honorable Chair, and congratulations for good work in the Senate. And Chief Secretary of the President Cabinet, welcome and good evening. Is it evening? Yeah. Afternoon. And members of the media, welcome. Minister staff, welcome again, and thank you for coming. I will hand you over to the Chief Secretary of the President Cabinet to take us through our cases. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir. Honorable Minister and Chair, members of the media, we are again at it. We meet you at the 13th post-cabinet press briefing. As usual, we call upon our chair, maybe the presentation. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Chief Secretary, and I want to thank my PM Secretary. Once again, I want to welcome you to our 13th post-cabinet press briefing, and thank you for that support. Today, Cabinet got an update on Zimbabwe's response to the COVID-19 outbreak. Cabinet considered an update on the response to the COVID-19 outbreak, and this was presented by the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development on behalf of the Chairperson of the Interministerial Task Force on the COVID-19 outbreak, Honorable Muchinguri Kashiri. Cabinet advises that as at 3rd May 2021, Zimbabwe's cumulative COVID-19 cases stood at 38,293, with 35,647 recoveries and 1,578 deaths. The recovery rate stands at 93%, with 36,533 of cases being attributable to local transmissions. There are 1,073 active cases in the country. Cabinet notes with concern the upsurge in the use of unauthorized passenger-carrying vehicles that are not affiliated to ZUPCO on the roads. Social distancing and other COVID-19 measures are hardly being observed by passengers in these vehicles. In order to curb this development, the Vehicle Inspectorate Department, VID, the ZRP, Zimbabwe Republic Police, and the Traffic Safety Council, they are all enhancing surveillance and enforcement. The nation is reminded that all beer halls, bars, pubs, and nightclubs, those remain closed. Bottle stores should strictly open for takeaways as required by the law. Restaurants are expected to continue to be open for 50% seating capacity, takeaways, and deliveries. Cabinet approved that the operating times for the restaurants be extended to 2100 hours. In light of the general lack of compliance to COVID-19 regulations by citizens, the Law and Order Subcommittee will step up surveillance and enforcement, including community engagements on the risks associated with such complacency. Meanwhile, the nation is being advised that the provincial education and health focal teams have been successfully trained for the COVID-19 response in schools. Each province has now developed a plan for implementation of enhanced infection prevention and control, surveillance, risk communication, and community engagement. It is envisaged that compliance with standard operating procedures, SOPs, will be enhanced and buttressed by the standardization of the management of outbreaks in schools. Furthermore, Cabinet approved a request made by Insurance and Pensions Commission, IPEC, for the Organization of Eastern and Southern Africa Insurers to host a meeting of insurance regulators. The approval was made on the following conditions. 1, that they choose a large venue in Victoria Falls, and 2, that they use a combination of face-to-face and online modes of discussion, and 3, that they strictly adhere to COVID-19 regulations. Then Cabinet received a progress report on the procurement and rollout of COVID-19 vaccines. Cabinet received an update report on the procurement and rollout of COVID-19 vaccines, and this was presented by the Vice President and Minister of Health and Child Care, Honorable CGDN Chiwenga. As of 3rd May 2021, a total of 437,751 people have received their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and 99,765 have received their second dose across the country. On confirmed COVID-19 cases in schools, Cabinet advises that 126 new infections were detected through schools' surveillance system during the week under review. Among these were 77 additional cases at Sacred Heart Primary School, that is Matabeleland South, 46 at George Solundika High School in Matabeleland North, and 3 at Thornhill High School, that's in Midlands. Cabinet wishes to restate that any boarding school learners who test positive for COVID-19 should be isolated at their respective schools and should not be taken home. Cabinet reiterates the position that there should be strict adherence to COVID-19 guidelines by all institutions of learning, and those found flouting these will be disciplined accordingly. In order to improve capacity of the health service delivery in Zimbabwe, Cabinet advises that the Ministry of Health and Childcare intends to open up the open heart surgeries and radiotherapy services. These would be enhanced through partnerships with the private sector and local financing organizations. It is envisaged that the public-private partnerships, the PPEs, would enable the expansion of access to higher quality healthcare and services by leveraging on the capital, infrastructure, equipment, and expertise from both the private sector and the public sector. In a development to address the power challenges experienced by health facilities, Cabinet adopted a proposal for the installation of solar backup energy at 640 health facilities. Then Cabinet received a report on the implementation of the Easy Flush sanitation technology for waste management in urban and rural communities. Cabinet considered and approved the implementation of Easy Flush sanitation technology for waste management in peri-urban and rural communities, and this was presented by the Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare as the acting chairperson of the Cabinet Committee on Social Services and Poverty Eradication. Government wishes to get rid of open pit latrines, implement alternative innovations which are suitable for transforming rural communities with respect to the provision of clean water and improved sanitation. Government is taking a deliberate position to provide modern, sustainable, and affordable infrastructure in both urban and rural communities. It is highlighted that Vision 2030 speaks to Sustainable Development Goals, SDG number 6, which seeks to, and I quote, ensure availability and sustainability of the management of water and sanitation for all, unquote. Cabinet is pleased to inform the nation that some innovation has been developed. The program may be funded through the Schools Development Associations, the Constituent Development Fund, devolution funds, or donor participation. The nation is advised that the Easy Flush sanitation technology is an innovation that seeks to ameliorate the challenges occasioned by the need to improve hygiene practices on open defecation in these peri-urban and rural communities. This technology, which uses 2 liters of water per flush, compared to the 7 to 9 liters used by the conventional system, will convert the existing pit latrines infrastructure. This will reduce construction costs for new ablution facilities by up to 80%. Cabinet acknowledges that the adoption and implementation of the Easy Flush sanitation technology will go a long way in reducing the transmission of waterborne diseases such as typhoid, diarrhea, dysentery, and cholera, which result from lack of adequate sanitation facilities. The project will be implemented in phases, beginning with rural schools and clinics. It will then be cascaded to homesteads once the concept has been demonstrated and popularized. Presently, the technology is already installed and being piloted at Glenwood Primary School in Epworth, and has proved to be effective, functional, and user-friendly in terms of applicability and cost. Cabinet got an update on the identification and quantification of all irregular and dysfunctional settlements, national wetlands, master plan, streamlining the operations of housing cooperatives, and the emergency road rehabilitation program 2. The Vice President and Minister of Health and Child Care, Honorable CGDN Chiwenga, briefed Cabinet on the ongoing program, which is there to address the untenable situation brought about by the emergence of irregular and dysfunctional settlements, including in wetlands and the flood-prone areas. The program also covers the production of the National Wetlands Master Plan, streamlining the operations of housing cooperatives, and the rehabilitation of damaged roads. Cabinet wishes to advise that the number of families residing in wetlands or in dysfunctional and irregular settlements which are in need of alternative accommodation stands at 31,257. Verification of affected households is ongoing. In the meantime, the provision of relief to distressed households in areas prone to flooding is underway, while the identification of safe places in all provinces is being carried out. It will be recalled that the resettlement project includes the development of blocks of flats by government to house huge numbers of relocated households at Zoarasekwa and at Highfields Harare and Senga Gweru messengers camps. Cabinet is happy to report that ground clearance of the construction area for the building of 4 blocks at Zoarasekwa has been done and procurement of construction material is underway, with actual construction set to commence in mid-May this year, 2021. The additional 40 blocks approved by Cabinet for construction at Zoarasekwa will be completed this year. Concerning the Messengers Camps projects, government plans to construct 15 blocks of flats with 240 housing units on the available open spaces at the Highfields Messengers Camp. The first phase entails construction of 2 blocks of flats with 32 housing units to accommodate the first group of households residing in existing units. And then the second phase will entail the construction of a further 2 blocks. On the other hand, the redevelopment of Senga Messengers Camp in Gweru will create 13 blocks of 4-story flats with a total of 208 household units. The additional funds required to ensure that the Zoarasekwa, Highfield, and Senga Messengers Camps projects are completed this year will be provided by Treasury. On a related matter, Cabinet wishes to inform the public that the regularization of Garikai, Tlanandani Kuhle settlements through provision of on-site and off-site infrastructure by government is a top priority under this program, since they constitute a significant portion of the category of settlements with approved plans. Regarding private sector participation in the settlements construction projects, the following sites have been identified for piloting of the public-private sector partnerships. That is Gimboki South in Mutare, Kodri Park in Blawayo, Heathcliff North in Harare, Southley Park in Harare South, and Caledonia in Goromons. Bids for expression of interest for the regularization and sanitization of dysfunctional settlements were invited from the private sector, and adjudication of submitted bids was completed on 30 April 2021. Materials and labor are now being mobilized, and construction is expected to start in earnest around mid-May 2021. In terms of progress made to date, the nation is advised that the Emergency Road Rehabilitation Program 2 is gathering significant pace. Highlights include the construction of the Karanda Bridge in Mashonaland Central, which was launched by His Excellency the President in April 2021. Then the construction of the Mount Casino Bridge, Mashonaland East. There's also surfacing of 5 kilometers along the Chiwi Mandamabwe Tugi Road in Maswingo, and 10-kilometer stretch from Chikawanenyama to Zwipani along the Karoi Binga Road in Mashonaland West. In Harare, the rehabilitation of Boshoff Drive and Chikurubi prison access was completed, while a cumulative 35 kilometers of the Kwekwe-Mvuma Road in Midlands have been re-gravelled and 15 kilometers have been graded. In Bulawayo, a stretch of 5 streets in the Central Business District CBD area was resealed, and project scoping for the rehabilitation of Masia Pambili Road is underway. On streamlining the operations of housing cooperatives, it is advised that any settlements established by these entities which are irregular and dysfunctional will be removed or regularized in terms of the set criteria under the relevant statutes, with those eligible for relocation receiving the necessary support. Profiling of the cooperatives should bring out the land barons and other illegal cooperatives which should be deregistered, while viable cooperatives will be strengthened and supported. Government takes this opportunity to advise the nation that teams led by ministers will soon embark on assessment visits of settlement and road rehabilitation projects to verify their status in all our provinces in order to ensure timely delivery. Then Cabinet received a report on the way forward on the threat posed by illegal activities of artisanal miners across the economic sectors. Government expresses grave concern at the threat of destruction of the country's critical communications infrastructure and economic activities, which is posed by the illegal and indiscriminate mining activities of illegal artisanal miners across all sectors of the economy. This follows presentation of a report on the matter by the Minister of Transport and Infrastructural Development, Honorable Mona, and this was adopted by Cabinet. In the area operated by the Bulawayo Beitbridge Railway, BBR Private Limited, artisanal miners had dug pits within the 3-meter radius of the railway line. This has the potential of weakening the railway infrastructure, leading to potential derailment and damage to the track. Cabinet approved the deployment of special security operations to deter artisanal mining activities along the Beitbridge-Bulawayo railway line. Cabinet further directed that law enforcement be intensified in all areas and further security enhancement measures instituted to ensure that no further costly damage of strategic communication infrastructure and derailment of economic activity will be caused by illegal artisanal mining activity. Stiffer penalties will also be meted out on artisanal miners who engage in destructive illegal activities. I would also want to talk on the report on the hailstorm disaster in the Mutasa and Chipinge districts in Manicaland province. Cabinet was briefed on the hailstorm disaster that occurred in the Mutasa and Chipinge districts of the Manicaland province by the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, Honorable July Moyo. The disaster, which occurred on Friday, 30th April 2021, resulted in extensive damage to infrastructure and houses, leaving a number of households homeless and without food. One person was seriously injured. Cabinet would like to assure the citizens that necessary assistance will be rendered to all the affected families. Meanwhile, the 40 million Zimbabwe dollars, which has been disbursed by Treasury into the National Protection Fund, will be utilized to provide immediate relief in the form of tents, blankets, and food items. The Department of Civil Protection is currently carrying out further assessments of the situation in cooperation with partners at the sub-national level in order to alleviate the suffering of our citizens. I would like to thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for the presentation, and also members of the media for your presence. So we end there.
Thank you.